And Martin King happened to be a subscriber to Ramparts and happened to see those photographs. And Bernard Lee, his bodyguard, told me Atlanta airport one day pushed away the food and said he could never enjoy food again as long as this wretched war was going on. And then he asked to meet with me. And that started that relationship. And I will, till I die, remember his tears when I opened the files and he saw, just really saw, how real the devastation was, how brutal it was, and how innocent it was. How innocent were the ones that it was being visited upon. Well, we talked a lot about that, and eventually he said, I've been on the fringe of this, I've made tentative speeches, but I think I now will really have to come against this war. And he did, of course, on April 4, 1967, deliver that speech at Riverside Church. And he called me about 1 in the morning after that speech, and he said, you know, they're all gone now. I said, who's gone? They're all gone. All the civil rights leaders, all those people are gone. I will have they all think I'm costing the movement great money because I've offended this president. And of course, papers like the New York Times called him a traitor. He was denigrated. Yet he came out against that war, and the last year of his life, he was steadfast in it. And one of the strategies was to build a third-party political movement that would run him and Dr. Benjamin Spock against the Johnson organization, right? And that was what we were about at that time. We built this whole organization. We came here to Chicago. 5,000 delegates spread all over the Palmer House, and it was a disaster. And it was a disaster not because of the goodwill of most of those delegates who really wanted to turn America around and give it a new politics, but it was a disaster because it was infiltrated and it was subverted. And it was the home of the first Black caucus in America. And it was the Black caucus that was largely made up of Blackstone Rangers, gang members in the pay of Richard Daley, who came in off the streets and brought all the blacks made all the black delegates go into a caucus, and then participate in the convention by passing the most unacceptable types of resolutions, forcing them through that were dividing everybody inside the place enormously and driving away whatever hope of funding there was. And in the course of that first evening, a session like this, Martin was the keynote speaker at that time. And I introduced him, and he started to speak, and he was well into his speech. And I'm sitting behind him. And over my shoulder comes a hand with a note. And I take this note and I look at it, and it says, "Get him out of here as soon as he finishes his speech, or we will take him hostage and embarrass him before the world." They had to have him removed, you see, because he was a unifier, not a divider. And what happened subsequently in terms of all the resolutions might not have happened if Martin King had said it. But we had really no choice. These people were hell-bent to destroy that convention and that movement. Now, that's a personal experience in terms of that. In my work on the King case, continually, I have been faced with disinformation. I've been faced with people who had stories, who had evidence, who knew where the rifle was, it just goes on and on. Over 28 years, you can imagine people coming out of the woodwork. And for the most part, we were able to screen them out. But we were not always able to do it. And so whenever people come into you and give you information, if you're not careful enough in terms of your research and your corroboration, you can be discredited. And that frequently can happen. In 1995, New Year's Day, 96 actually, one of my colleagues who was, he was an inside guy who had helped me locate some of the members of the sniper team who had fled to Mexico, got a call. And he got a call from a guy who said he was a colonel And this colonel, we knew, was the man who had coordinated all aspects of the hit on Martin King. He coordinated the photographers on the roof. He coordinated military intelligence who was down there. He coordinated the snipers. He coordinated the CIA guys who put the snipers in position. He coordinated the Army Security Agency, ASA, nobody ever heard of them. Those are the guys who do the most surreptitious wiretape tapping and phone tapping in those days, maybe to this day. He coordinated everyone, and he was the only one who knew what everyone was doing. He chose the sniper team himself. He called my colleague and he said, "Why don't you tell Bill Pepper, I read his book, he's right, he's given me too much credit, however, I was just following orders. They will tell you I'm dead, but I'm alive. They've given me a new identity, and I live in Central America. I'm prepared to meet with you guys, and I'm prepared to lay out everything that I know." We started a series of meetings that went on for 18 months. And it was a very interesting experience because he started to provide some information that a guy like him should have known. But then it started to turn in the direction of trying to take control of the investigation and move us into areas that I knew were wrong. And then it all became evident. It was a disinformation campaign, and they're very clever how they do it. Very clever at how they do it. So I'm going to say this group, more than any other that I can think of in terms of a movement, is going to be infiltrated, is infiltrated, and there are going to be all kinds of efforts to subvert your work, all kinds of efforts to corrupt your work, and all kinds of efforts to discredit you. Please understand that and take it in the spirit in which it's being given, because this is what will happen and probably is happening. So please, your work is too important, your mission is too precious. Be careful in every aspect of the work. Make sure your allegations, your claims are well-founded, because if they're not, you will be discredited.